But understand thou for thyself and seek out the glory for such as be like thee. For unto you is paradise opened, and life is planted. The time to come is prepared. Plenteousness is made ready. A city is builded, and rest is allowed. Yea, perfect goodness and wisdom. The root of evil is sealed up from you. Weakness and the mob is hid from you. And corruption is fled into hell to be forgotten. Sorrows are past, and in the end eschew the treasure of immortality. Jerusalem is stones, thy walls and towers and battlements with pure gold be paved with beryl and carbuncle and stones of Ophir, and all her streets shall say, Hallelujah, and this praise, blessed be Yahweh ever.
It's about time, man, because I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to get the kingdom. I'm ready to live. I'm ready to breathe fresh. I'm ready to have beautiful, pure women, okay? Not no strawberry harlots on this side. Ready to have children, man, you can vibe with, okay? Around brother, be around the Lord help. Sandy beaches, man, and explore the ocean floors. I'm ready to fly, okay? I'm ready to eat real food, okay? I'm ready to drive a chariot, man. All right, I'm ready to minister to the Lord and to be ministered to, man. Okay, I'm ready to worship Yahweh Shai in its full entirety. Okay, I'm ready for it. We're ready, man. I'm ready to see angels and greet angels.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Makakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who well teach well, being great examples to his young brothers. And peace and blessing and salutation to the hopeful elect out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners, whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. All right, and what I want to get into, all right, in this lesson, dealing with the flesh has to take a back seat. The flesh has to take a back seat, because we've been calling to this faith, to be in the spirit, okay? And to be in the spirit is to be in tune with the will of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah, all right? Matter of fact, to be in the spirit, the first phase of being in the spirit is separating from this world, okay? Because this world is geared towards, the convenience of the flesh, all right? And that's why a lot of people, love, and are addicted to, all right, Western culture, okay, because it's it's a atmosphere, all right, that's convenient for the flesh, okay. You can just buffet on the flesh, whether it's food, women, drugs, sex, whatever. You can just buffet, all right, with no restrictions. You can make it up as you go. Do as thou wilt. Okay, and that's a very seductive and alluring atmosphere to be in. It pulls you in, okay, because the flesh, okay, is weak, as Yahweh Shai goes into. The flesh is weak to temptation. The spirit is what resists temptation, okay? So to be in the spirit, okay, we have to begin with transforming, all right, from this world. So when you go to Romans 12:2, it says, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And to be in the spirit, it requires a renewing of the mind. All right, to really tap into the spirit, it requires us being renewed in the mind. Okay, that's what begins us being in the spirit. Because now we look at things from a different perspective. We're looking at things through spiritual lenses now. Okay, we have that spiritual eyesight. Okay, we understand that this is bigger than the flesh. It's bigger than emotions. Okay, what we're a part of is bigger than us. That's another thing. Being in the spirit, all right, we begin to think of a higher purpose is bigger than just us, man. In the flesh, you're thinking about yourself. Okay, when you're in the flesh, you're in your own little world, and you're occupied with pleasing the flesh, appeasing the flesh, the ego, your senses, your appetite. Okay, when you're in the flesh, when you're in the spirit, you have a higher purpose, okay, than just pleasing the flesh. Now, pleasure is not wicked. We'll get into the balance of it, okay, but too much of anything can be bad, okay. And it says, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is good and acceptable and perfect will of the Most High. Okay? So as we've been brought into the truth, man, we're learning more and more day for day what's pleasing to our power. We're learning what's pleasing to our power. You see, there's certain things that we do to keep us in the spirit. Okay? There's things that we do to put us out the spirit. I know, personally, the scriptures say, prove thy soul and see what's good for it. Okay, there's certain things, all right, that's not good for the spirit, and that varies. And then there's certain things, okay, that enhance us in the spirit, man. Okay, and one thing for sure is being occupied. Okay, being occupied in the ministry, man. Whatever our gift is, whatever our lot, whatever portion of faith, whatever talent the Lord has given in us, we should be tapped into mastering our craft, man. Especially coming down the stretch, man, we should be tapped into our craft, okay, which is to teach this word, speaking to the brothers, okay, that the Lord has called to be on the front lines of this spiritual war, man. We should be tapped into our craft, because the more potent we are in our gift, all right, the more of an asset we are to the body, the more of an asset we are to Yahweh Shema Shai. I seen a police car riding around in Jackson yesterday, and it said asset protection. Asset protection. And see, the Lord is going to protect his assets. The elect are assets to Yahweh Bashim Shai. Okay? Because these are, all right, those that will be in the spirit in these days, man. They will be walking and moving in the spirit. Okay? So being in the spirit starts with us having a renewed mind. Okay? Our priorities change, our desires change. Okay, we still in the flesh. It's a battle. There's still certain things that pull in us, man. But our spirit should become stronger and stronger to where it begins to dominate the flesh. Okay? Because this atmosphere is all about pulling you in by the flesh. And that's Esau's leverage on the world, is that people are carnal, people are fleshly, people are all about, their situation, pleasing themselves, attention, clout, being popular, or ego. You see? And that's the leverage that this devil has on the masses, man. And he's going to use that when he enforces this MOTB. Okay? So when you go to Romans 8, in the same book, the book of Romans, okay, chapter 8. Let's go here. This is the book of Romans, all right, chapter 8 and verse 5. It says, for they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, but they that are after the spirit, the things of the spirit. Yes. So whatever is the strongest, Okay, whatever you feed into, okay, that's what's going to be the stronger. You know, if you feed into the flesh, you're going to be occupied. Your life is going to be centered around pleasing the flesh. Okay, if flesh, okay, if you're in the flesh, then your schedule, your routine, okay, your agenda is going to be centered around the flesh. Okay, how can you be more popular? How can you be, more wealthy? How can you get more women partying? You know, just the things of this world. Your own interests. You're gonna be about forwarding your own interests, man. If you're in the flesh, okay, in the spirit, you're thinking on a higher frequency, man. Okay, first, because being in the spirit makes us nation minded, man. Okay, we have a duty. We have a spirit and a duty that's way above the flesh. Okay, so when you're in the spirit, then you begin to prioritize, and your agenda is surrounded about things that forward the spirit. Okay, forward our individual spirit, and then also as we're tasked to labor and toil, okay, and teach where we're forwarding, okay, the spirit of the church. You see, we're forwarding, all right, the agenda of Yahushua, because Yahushua, he wants us in the spirit. We gotta be in the spirit to serve him. We gotta be in the spirit to serve Yahushua. You can't serve Yahushua in the flesh 24/7, man. Okay, the Lord gives us moments because I was saying that the flesh ain't, pleasure ain't wicked. Okay, but like I say, this world just teaches indulgence. Okay, to where people destroy themselves. Okay, because of access, man. You know, because it's such easy access in this world. You know, but when you go here, just to show, let's get this in the Book of Sirach. All right, just to bring balance to it, because it's not about being a monk, okay, just being okay, a hermit, okay, but it's about being in the spirit, okay, making the spirit the priority, man, being in the spirit as much as possible, okay, and being balanced. You see, because when you go here to the book of Sirach 31:27, this is the book of Sirach, chapter 31 and verse 27. Okay. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 31, verse 27. It says, wine is as good as life to a man if it be drinking moderately. And wine, okay, not wine is not wicked. And you can, uh, wine, you can equate that to, pleasure in itself, because it's the concept of pleasure is not wicked, but there's a standard to it. Okay, there's restrictions to it. You see, there's laws centered around pleasure. The sex ain't wicked, but it's supposed to be with your woman. Okay, it's supposed to be with your woman. Okay, because you can have you can step out of bounds, which is transgression, and deal with someone else's woman, then that's wicked. Okay, so drinking, there's nothing wrong with drinking, but you can overdo it. Okay, that's why I say if it be drunken moderately. So anything in the flesh, anything that's pleasurable, that's lawful, there's nothing wrong with it, but it still has to be done with moderation. Because we have to be in the spirit. You can't be in the spirit sloppy drunk. You can't be in the spirit laid up all the goddamn time. Okay? You can't be in the spirit partying and doing your own thing all the time, man. Nah, we have a higher purpose, man. We are part of something that's bigger than our own little personal pleasures, man. And the Lord is balanced. He gives us these things, man. The Lord gives us these certain little pleasures that we can have in moderation, man, to balance us out. Okay? It said, what life is then to a man that is without wine, for it was made to make men glad. Okay, so the Lord understands that we're in this flesh, and one of the glories of being in these bodies is to enjoy pleasure. We need terrestrial bodies. One of the glories of this body is to enjoy pleasure, but it has to be done with moderation. Okay, and right now we have to understand the times that we are in. You see, we're right here, okay, at the brink of all hell breaking loose, man. You see, we finna have to make some decisions, and we're gonna have to be in the spirit. We finna have to make some hard decisions, okay, as men, and we're gonna have to be in the spirit, man. The flesh gonna have to take a back seat. Okay? The way that we're getting ready to move and have to be, okay, we're gonna have to be in the spirit, and the Lord giving us the Lord is giving us this grace period to condition us to be in the spirit, man. Okay, to be obedient in the worst circumstances, man. Okay, to where our life don't even matter. Why? Because we know, okay, hey, what is death? What is death to the elect? Okay, if we die in your house, shot, that's a win. But see, you got to be in the spirit to think like that. Okay, whatever the Lord take from us, whether it was never ours anyway. Whoever the Lord take from us, it wasn't ours anyway. We got to still be in the spirit. Okay, we're gonna have to deal with betrayals, and it's gonna be some plot twists. Some brothers, brother stories gonna have plot twists, but we gotta stay in the spirit when it happens. Okay, we gotta stay in the spirit when these things happen, man. Betrayal and all these things finna happen, man. Persecution, lied on. Okay, and we gotta stay in the spirit, man. We're gonna be against all odds, man. It's gonna be some situations. Okay, but we just have to move in the spirit. Just believe He is. We really have to tap into the spirit of He is, man. Okay, so let's go back. When you go from there, let's get this in the book of matter of fact, since I'm in that book, let's get this real quick. It's the book of Sirach, chapter 18. All right, and we'll all right, this Sirach 18:20 said, before judgment, examine thyself. And we're coming in a time of judgment, man. We're gonna need mercy, man. We're gonna need mercy in these times, man. And the scriptures say, blessed is he whom the Lord found so doing, which means occupied in his work, occupied in his labor, man, being in the spirit. There's a reward, there's a blessing. First, there's mercy, because we're gonna need mercy before we get to the reward. We're gonna need mercy to be preserved to get to the reward. Okay, so blessed is he whom his Lord finds so doing. So we want to be occupied in the spirit, man. This is the time to tap in to what we believe. Okay, we coming down the clutch, man. It's 4 quarter, 2 minute drill. It said, before judgment, examine thyself, in the day of visitation thou shalt find mercy. Okay, because we're in the time where we need mercy. The only thing that's finna matter is whom the Lord finna have mercy on. All these other things that they can preoccupy mind and have us entangled, and these little pettiness and back and forth, man. Look, man, we gotta be in the spirit. You see, we gotta be maturing in the spirit, man. Hey, we all in the flesh fighting. Certain little offenses that happen, man. We gotta be able to, hey, that brother fight. He ain't perfect. He fight. Is that brother fighting? Is that brother intent, sincere? Okay. Yes, he's gonna be some things. A little feathers ruffled here and there, man. But we in the point now, like, hey, shrug certain things now. We gotta shrug off and keep it moving, man. And still have each other best interests in mind. Speaking to myself first and foremost. Okay, but we're in the time to be occupied. Okay, because prophecy is peeking out. You see, prophecy is moonwalking off the page, man. Okay, let's go here. Sirach 39:1. It said, but he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof, will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient, and be occupied in prophecies. Okay, be occupied in prophecy, man. Seek out the wisdom of the ancient, man. Hey, that puts us in the spirit. Reading is that's always the foundation of going into the spirit. No matter what type of day you have, man, sit down and read. Reading put you in the spirit. Reading put a covering on you, man, to shield your mind, because it's cultivating our minds, man. When we read, all right, the Lord, Yahweh Shai is supping, man. And we in Babylon, things moving fast, man. But even if it's 3-4 precepts, it make a difference if it's consistent. As long as it's consistent, And from my experience, man, as long as it can be some type of consistency, man, you can do it. You can read, look here and there, As long as it's consistent, man, that makes a difference. Especially with all the things that's happening now, man. Because it's just so the Bible is just so full of gems that help immediately. Okay, there's always some type of precept that say today. No matter what you're going through, man, it's a precept that say today. That change your whole countenance, man. Just me speaking from experience, man. Certain times I feel, like this, like that, and read a precept and it just change your whole countenance, man. It's the comforter. You see, and we have access to the comforter. We have access to something a lot of people don't have, man. So why not be tapped in? Okay, because we're privileged to be here. We're privileged to be in this position. So why not, tap in? Okay, so let's go from there. Let's go back here. This is the book of let's go to the book of I think Galatians, chapter 5. In Galatians 5:16, it said, "This I say then, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh." Walk in the spirit. It comes to a point to where this got to be our life. It comes to a point in this faith, man, where this thing is our life now. Okay? The walking goes back into your manner of life. Okay? Walk in the spirit. Okay? This is our life now. Our life is centered around this. And that cuts out, the idleness, because that's when flesh gets active in idleness, man. But it's so much to be occupied in. Okay? It's so much to be occupied in, man. We should be active in the spirit, especially what we got coming. You gotta think Esau finna lose everything. The elites, they finna lose everything. We finna get everything that's gonna be in righteousness, man. Okay, how tapped in we should be. Look how tapped in niggas are when they trying to be rappers and athletes, or trap niggas, whatever they into. Look how tapped in niggas be, man. Like Apostle Paul said, they do it for a corruptible crown. Okay, just to understand, because we understand the piece of what we got coming, but even that far surpasses anything, all right, known to man. Okay, any reward known to man. Okay, we have that. We have the greatest reward that any man, all right, can achieve, man. Being joint heirs with Yahweh Shai forever. Okay, and if that don't motivate us, what can? You see, this shit temporary. This shit here, then we, like I say, when we're renewed in the mind, and because you can't unsee it. Like when you're in the spirit and as you maturing in this thing and you look at it, man, it's like you can't unsee it, man. Like we should look at this world, this age with disgust, man. It get to a point to where you should look at these things with disgust. Okay, and we still in the flesh, so it's things that pull at us, man. Okay, but walking in the spirit, all right, we begin to overcome the flesh, man. Okay, we begin to be able to tame and bridle the flesh. Okay, it says, for the flesh lust against the spirit, because the flesh want to take us a whole nother way. The flesh want to take us on a side mission that has nothing to do with the assignment, man. You see, the flesh wants to do its own thing. The flesh just wants to chill. The flesh don't care about prophecy and what's to come. The flesh wants to kick it. The flesh want to be comfortable. The flesh want to feel good. Okay, all the time. You see, but we not in that time. Okay, and we're coming into a kingdom where we're going to get to enjoy ourselves forever, man, in righteousness, man. Okay, and it says, for the flesh lusted against the spirit against the flesh, and these are contrary the one to the other, so that you cannot do the things that ye would. Okay, so the spirit is the flesh is a hindrance of the spirit. Okay, the flesh is a hindrance, and that's why the flesh has to be tamed. The spirit has to be in the driver's seat. Okay, they have to mature to a time where, okay, you know how to pull the flesh out, you know, give it its simple pleasures, okay, and then get back to the business, man. Okay, the flesh should be like a like a smoke break. Like nigga take a smoke break at work, you know, that's how the flesh should be. It shouldn't be the main thing. Okay, and you know, you operate in the flesh and within the law. You know, you look pleasures. You know, you got, you know, you look simple pleasures that's lawful. Okay, you know, but that's the spirit should be in the driver's seat, man. The flesh can't drive, man. The flesh ain't got no eyes or ears, man. Flesh bound to crash out. Okay, it says, hey, for the flesh lusted against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh, and these are contrary to one another, so that you cannot do the things that you would, man. And we gonna fall, no matter how we get in the spirit. You know, we still gonna fall. But see, we should be falling less and less. Okay, it should become rare. It should constantly becoming more rare, especially falling to the same thing. Okay, so let's go here. Because even going back to let's get this in Matthew real quick. You know, get that in Psalm. It's the book of Matthew, chapter 26, and verse 41. Matthew 26 and 41 says, "Watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing." All right, the spirit is indeed willing to be obedient. The spirit is indeed willing to make sacrifices, to be patient, to be disciplined. Okay, but the flesh is weak. Okay, the flesh is easily persuaded. Okay, it's going to be those in the spirit that's going to be steadfast, man. It's going to be unmovable. Okay, but the flesh is weak. The flesh is ready to give in, man. The flesh is ready to make excuses. Okay, and everyone that takes that MOTB, they're going to make that decision in the flesh. Okay, it's going to be the spirit that's going to make us stand stiffly for the names of Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai, man. Okay, and it's the worst time ever to be operating in the flesh. Okay, this is the worst time ever to have the flesh in the driver's seat. Nah, man, the flesh got to take the back seat, man. Okay, so let's go here to Psalm, because I say we got everything coming. Okay, the Lord, listen, the Lord knows our desires, man. Matter of fact, let's get this real quick. This Psalms 16:11 says, God's teaching us how to live, man. Okay, he's teaching us life, he's teaching us how to live, he's teaching us immortality, man. We're being taught immortality, man. Okay, and we're gonna have immortality in extraterrestrial bodies, man. Okay, so the Lord, he intends for us to enjoy pleasure, but it's in righteousness, man. Okay, this world ain't right, this age ain't right. Okay, dealing in this world comes with so much, you know, entanglements and headaches, and you know, it's just so complicated, and this, it's like, nah, man, it's in the way. Okay, too much of this world is in the way. Okay, it'll be a major hindrance to the mission, the assignment. Okay, it says, in thy presence is fullness of joy. At thy right hand there are pleasures forevermore. Okay? And it's gonna be in righteousness, man. We got forever to enjoy the earth, to enjoy family, okay, to enjoy wives and enjoy wine, the best wine, women on point. Your woman, truly your woman, your women, okay, your estates, your lands, your children, okay, the earth flourishing in righteousness, your people in power, your king, Yahweh Shah, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, okay. So we finna come into living, man. We got forever to do that, man. This little short time, we just gotta hold it down. We're in spiritual war right now. When the war is won, we're gonna enjoy the spoils of war. Okay, that's why you go here, and we can end it here. This is the book of Psalm. All right, this is the book of Psalm, chapter is it 34? Might be 37. It's 37. So you go Psalms 37. All right, yep. Psalm 37:4 said, "Delight thyself in the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Al Shai, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart." And he shall give thee the desires of thine heart, man. And see, now our desires, okay, are in righteousness now. Okay? Our desires are lining up with how the Lord intended us to have desires. But desires ain't wickedness. All right, ain't wicked. It just has to be in line with how the Lord intended it to be. Now our desires are beginning to line up with how the Lord intended it to be. It said, commit thy way unto the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Al Shai, trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. Okay? And he shall bring it to pass, man. The Lord is going to bring it to pass. Okay? Well, first you have to what? Commit thy way unto the Lord, our life. Okay? Commit our conduct, our life unto the Lord. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass, man. And then we believe that we got what we got coming, man. That makes it that much easier, man, to kill the flesh, man. The Lord got us the best of the best on reserve, man. We're gonna be good. Okay? So Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edified. Till next time I say Shalom, Kwame Mashallah, a Bible, soon, Shalom.